All right, let's talk about what you can expect if you're buying a home in the Tampa area in 2023. A little bit of market update, a little bit of practicals. Let's get into it. I'm Sam, and this is the Living in Tampa channel. We make these videos for you about what it's like to live and move to Tampa. And as much as I love making these videos for you, I would love more to have a chance to earn your real estate business. We have a team of realtors here in the area, and we would love a chance to connect with you and see how we can best help. So as many of you know that have been watching the channel, thank you so much for watching the channel over the years here. I moved here in 2020. Now I'm moving again. Made a video about that recently, about the move we're making a little further north. So I feel just connected again to what it's like to be a buyer in this area, and I want to share some of what I'm kind of learning about this process. And we'll share a few client stories throughout this video as well, just to kind of show some differences of how people think about this. So for everyone, there is something that matters the most about their house. Maybe it's the school district, maybe it's the commute time, maybe it's the size and the pool, maybe it's something like that. For us, it was the property. So we wanted an acre at least. We got an acre, some of it's wooded, some of it has a nice sodded yard, and it's a 4-bedroom house with a pool. The hottest commodity in this real estate market. We'll get into some of that. And what I've found from working with a lot of you is that most of you care about the area or the things that make up the area. And this kind of like combination, this equation of location, style, size, and cost. And we went through that in the Tampa Explained series, kind of breaking down different areas according to that criteria. But for a lot of you, it's a little different. When you're thinking of area, it's like, okay, is this location tolerable? Yeah. But more importantly, are the schools that I want? Are there homes there that I like enough? And how is the driving distance to work? Or is that a factor even? A lot of you ask about like driving distance to grocery stores and things like that. All that's really accessible here. So that's never really a concern once we get into it. And for a lot of you, you look at homes and you can see, oh, there's a lot of homes that I like. It's very rare that you're like, I'm looking for a very specific home. But there are some of you like that as well, where it's the home that's the most important, right? So it's the style of the home, it's the size of the home, it's the amenities, or it's the pool. And then lastly, it's the location. And sometimes people are willing to compromise on the location before they'll compromise on, their budget or the size or the style of the house. Sometimes that location thing is the one that moves the most. That's kind of interesting to me because typically it's actually like budget and size that moves before location does. And we've heard the old adage of location, location, location being the primary driver of cost of real estate. And that is very true. And usually it's your primary factor in decision making. And so I'm a little different than that. Just like some of you are a little bit different than that. The home and the property, not specifically the home, but the property was the most important factor to us. We're not too worried about schools right now. Our kids are really little. We can always move if we need to. Not forever home. Working in real estate, I probably think of that as a little more flexible than a lot of you do as well. But this is the third home we've purchased in the past 6 years, so it seems pretty flexible. Okay, let's talk about the market a little bit. So, 4-bedroom house with a pool is the most competitive thing here. Now, if you add a few layers, so if it's perfectly move-in ready, if the schools are really good, those kind of things, then it gets really competitive. So my house, let's just use my house for an example. Now, a lot of people probably really like the property. So it was listed in the high 500s. The schools in the area are not great. The area overall is not a very loved area. And the inside needs some updates. There were still 7 offers within 3 days of this house being listed. And then 3 or 4 of the offers were like matching. So we had to kind of raise our price. So we ended up paying a little bit over asking price to get this house. So that kind of put me in your shoes. A lot of you end up doing that, but a lot of you don't expect to do that right now. You think maybe that's a thing of the past, that's a 2020 or 2021 thing. And the reality is it's not. So this is still a competitive market. With buyers, we have a lot of leverage right now because we're the one bringing the money, but it's still competitive whenever those things are in alignment. So we got the offer accepted, a little bit over asking, built some great rapport with the agent. Of course, being an agent representing myself is kind of a unique dynamic, but got it accepted. everybody's happy. Then you gotta finalize the mortgage application, you gotta pay for the inspection, you gotta pay for the appraisal, you gotta get all this stuff done. And then you have to pack and move. So of course, out of pocket expenses, earnest money, $6,000 went to escrow company. We paid for the inspection, that was $700. We paid for the appraisal, that was another $550. All that's out of pocket. Of course, that earnest money gets applied to your down payment at the title company, but you still have to pay it. It still gets cashed, like it still is money that needs to go. One thing that came up in the inspection was that our roof was 13 years old, which, you know, in Florida, that can be a problem with insurance. So we knew going in, but we knew that even before we got our offer accepted, that the roof is going to need to be replaced pretty soon. But we were actually surprised, you know, the insurance on this house was so affordable. So $1,900, which is 0.3% of the cost of the house. Normally for the estimates I give to people, I say, you know, it's about 0.5%, 0.5%. So on a $500,000 house, that would mean your annual insurance is $2,500 a year. Ours was only 0.3%. There's a couple reasons why. It's a concrete house, first of all. Secondly, the trusses in this attic have hurricane clips. So they just have this additional security holding the roof onto the concrete blocks that make up the walls. Those are not that difficult to add when you get a new roof put on. There's all kinds of things like that, but that discount alone for the hurricane clips was like $1,100 a year and just a discount on my policy. So those kind of things make a big difference with insurance. And I'm so excited to get away from our super expensive insurance. That's like almost $7,000 a year right now. It's actually over $7,000 because our flood insurance just went up like crazy. Anyway, super excited to have lower insurance. But also in the midst of this, I was just super excited to get involved in the process again and kind of relate with all of you thinking about moving to Tampa or moving around the Tampa area. You know, going through the mortgage application, realizing how annoying all that stuff is, but also realizing how good my lender is. Like, he is amazing. And then negotiating inspections and navigating all of those kind of things, and also dealing with kind of a bidding war for a house. Like, all those things are unique. But going back, the equation of the property is the most important thing that we want in this. And then we can shape everything else around finding the right property. We can make some compromises on the house. We can make some compromises on the location. And that's the kind of conversation we love to have with you guys. Kind of finding those points where you're willing to compromise, where you want to compromise, where you're comfortable kind of getting one thing and not the other. That whole conversation is super fun. We love to help people through that process. So give us a call, text, or email anytime, and we'd love to help you.